The moment the billionaire collapsed, the world inside the 32nd floor executive conference room froze. Paperwork scattered. Coffee mugs crashed. And in the center of the chaos, Emma Carter, a single mother, a janitor no one ever noticed, a woman who had spent her life cleaning up after others, dropped to her knees beside the fallen man. The CEO of the company, Alexander Hayes, lay motionless on the polished floor, sunlight spilling across his face through the tall glass windows. No one moved. No one stepped forward. Except her. Emma's trembling hands hovered over him as she realized he had stopped breathing. The muffled gasps around her faded as instinct took over, and with tears pricking her eyes, she pressed her mouth to his and gave him the breath of life he desperately needed. That was the moment everything in her ordinary, overlooked world changed forever. Sparkles, if you believe kindness and second chances still matter in this world, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps stories like this reach more hearts. Sparkles. Emma Carter had never imagined her day beginning like this. That morning had been like the 100 mornings before it, waking up before dawn in her tiny apartment in Ohio, brushing her daughter Lily's golden hair into a neat ponytail, and tucking a handwritten note into her backpack telling her how loved she was. Emma had been a janitor for Hayes Global for 3 years, scrubbing floors and cleaning offices for people who wouldn't remember her name even if she wore it on a neon sign. She'd taken the job because it paid a little more than her previous one and because it came with health insurance, something she desperately needed after her ex-husband walked out when Lily was only 2. Life hadn't been easy, but Emma had always taught her daughter that light could be found even in dark places, if only one looked hard enough. That morning, she had entered the executive floor with her card and gloves, humming a tune she hoped would distract her from the eviction notice reminder taped to her fridge. She had bills stacking like mountains. She had car repairs she couldn't afford. And Lily had outgrown her shoes again. Emma's prayers had lately become quieter, more desperate, whispered late at night when the world was asleep. She had no idea God was about to answer in a way she never expected. As she cleaned the hallway outside the big glass conference room, she heard raised voices, the sounds of tension woven into corporate chaos. The company had been struggling with a major financial scandal, and Alexander Hayes, the billionaire CEO known for his discipline, brilliance, and cold-faced leadership, had been carrying that burden alone. Rumors whispered of long nights, skipped meals, and stress levels that could break even the strongest souls. Emma didn't know him personally, but she'd often seen him walking through the halls with a determined stride, unaware that she admired his resilience from afar. Then it happened. Through the glass, she saw him falter mid-speech, his hand clutching his chest. His face drained of color, and before anyone could react, his body crumpled. A heavy, terrifying silence swallowed the room. The employees stood stunned, frozen in fear. Phones were pulled out, but no one moved close enough to help. Emma didn't think, she simply let instinct and compassion guide her. She rushed in, sliding to the floor beside him, calling for someone to dial 911 as she checked for breathing. There was none. His pulse was faint. Her heart pounded as she lifted his head gently onto her lap, praying she remembered everything she learned years ago when she took a CPR class required for her old job. Her trembling lips pressed against his. Breath, compressions, the world spun into a blur of desperation and courage. And then, a faint gasp. His chest lifted weakly, and someone shouted that an ambulance was on the way. Emma leaned over him, tears falling freely now, her yellow cleaning gloves resting on his expensive suit as she whispered reassurance he couldn't hear. That was the moment someone snapped a photo. By the next morning, the photo had exploded across the internet. The image of a humble janitor giving life-saving CPR to a billionaire CEO had gone viral. News channels replayed the moment endlessly. Social media painted her as a hero. Strangers praised her bravery. But Emma didn't feel like a hero, she felt exposed. Terrified. She had never asked to be known. She only wanted to do the right thing. Meanwhile, Alexander Hayes woke up in a hospital room with the memory of collapsing and the faint sensation of someone pulling him back from darkness. The first thing he saw when he turned on the television was the photo, how his life had been saved by a woman he didn't even know. He stared at it for a long time, moved in a way he couldn't explain, his chest tightening not with pain now, but with overwhelming gratitude. A billionaire with everything had been saved by someone society often never saw. The next day, cameras filled the lobby of Hayes Global. Reporters swarmed the entrance, but Emma didn't show up for work. She was overwhelmed, afraid she would be fired for disrupting a meeting. Afraid of attention. Afraid of everything spiraling beyond her control. Instead, she stayed home, trying to shield Lily from the sudden spotlight. But Alexander Hayes wasn't a man who ignored life-changing moments. Still recovering, he instructed his driver to take him to the address listed on Emma's employment file. When Emma opened her door and saw him standing there, tall, impeccably dressed even in recovery, eyes sincere, she nearly slammed the door out of panic. But he spoke gently, thanking her for saving his life and asking if he could talk. She hesitated, then led him inside the modest apartment filled with second-hand furniture and Lily's crayon drawings taped proudly on the walls. Seeing Emma in her true environment softened something inside him. She wasn't just the woman in the viral photo, she was a mother, a survivor, a woman carrying burdens heavier than anyone realized. As they talked, Alexander listened, really listened, to her struggles, her dreams of giving Lily a better life, and the quiet strength woven through every word she spoke. For the first time in years, he felt something shift in his heart. Over the next weeks, Alexander made it his mission to ensure Emma's life changed for the better, but not in a flashy, disrespectful way. He offered her a promotion to a staff coordinator position, giving her a fair salary and training. He arranged for Lily to have a scholarship at a good school, insisting it was the least he could do. And he visited Emma often, claiming he was checking on her new role, but in truth, he simply couldn't stay away. Emma was cautious at first. She was used to people leaving, disappointing, or judging her. But Alexander wasn't that. Beneath the billionaire exterior, he was kind, thoughtful, and deeply grateful. Slowly, she allowed herself to trust him, though she constantly reminded herself to stay grounded. Their worlds were different, night and day, janitor and billionaire, but they found themselves drawn to each other in ways neither expected. He admired her resilience, she admired his humility. He found comfort in her honesty, she found peace in his presence. But not everyone approved. Rumors swirled around the company. Some employees whispered that Emma had staged the whole thing. Others claimed she was trying to seduce the CEO. Someone leaked more photos. Emma nearly quit to protect her dignity, but Alexander wouldn't let her. He stood before the entire board, defending her character publicly, reminding them she was the reason he was alive. His unwavering support brought Emma to tears. One evening after work, Alexander invited Emma and Lily to the company's rooftop garden. Soft lights glowed around the perimeter, and the city stretched beyond them like a field of stars. Lily ran to the fountain joyfully, leaving Emma and Alexander standing alone under the sky. Alexander took Emma's hands, gratitude heavy in his eyes. He told her how she had changed him, how her courage had awakened parts of him he'd long buried beneath stress and responsibility. Emma felt tears build as she realized she had allowed herself to care for him too. But fear lingered. Love felt dangerous. Emma was a single mom who had been left behind before. Could she really risk her heart again? Yet, as Alexander brushed a strand of hair from her face, his touch soft, filled with unspoken tenderness, she felt a warmth she hadn't felt in years. A reminder that maybe, just maybe, she deserved happiness too. Still, their story wasn't smooth. The media storm continued. A harsh article questioned Emma's intentions, causing her to break down in her kitchen late one night. She feared losing her job, her reputation, everything she had worked for. When Alexander arrived unexpectedly and found her crying,